Thank you. I have my notes, so I am on topic. Have you had enough government yet? Yes? One more time. Have you had enough government yet? Yes. All right. Who said no? My message is for you. Listen up. And who said yes? Good. I hope you find something in my message and will use it to educate others. One more thing. I am not politically correct. So, if you don't like something that I'm about to say, I have an excuse. I was not brainwashed here in America to accept political correctness. Okay? I am a Texian by choice, not a Texan, a Texian. I was born and grew up in the Soviet Union. And I came to the US to be free. I came to the US to live without the fear that I could be taken to Gulag for whatever reason. And I was happy here until 2008. In 2008, I think it was March or February, something like that, I heard the campaign speech of soon-to-be president, Mr. Barack Hussein Obama. I was listening to this speech, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, and something hit me. I was thinking, where am I again? Is it still US or is it the Soviet Union? Because he was speaking exactly like all those Soviet leaders through all my years there. My ears are trained to understand that crap. And he's speaking the same thing now, but more boldly, more aggressive. He now knows that there is nothing to hide about. He's a communist. And at that time, I realized that time machine does exist. It put me back 30 years in my life. It put me again into that communist dictatorship that I fled. For me, it was, when he got elected, for me it was over. I was thinking, where to run, where to hide, what to do. And at that time I was in California, and I didn't know anybody there who would I talk to openly about what's going on, what I see, what's going to be soon. And I started looking online, and I found Texas, particularly Texas Nationalist Movement. So I learned about that organization while I was in California, and I found, this is for me. This is only my hope to live free on this planet, in free and independent Texas. So in 2009, I quit my job in California and moved to Texas to join Texas Nationalist Movement and do whatever I can for free and independent Texas. In the Soviet Union, I studied how I had to study how communists operate, how they prepare the situation when a country is ready to be taken under their control. There are certain procedures and steps have to be followed in that process. It's kind of a blueprint for communists take the country down and then turn it into a dictatorship. Because socialist ideas are just that. It's just ideas. There is nothing with socialism or communism that is practical and it works. Nothing about that. It's just good sounding ideas for people who believe those ideas. When country is taken down, when country is under control, those ideas are thrown through the window. They don't need those ideas anymore. It just becomes bloody dictatorship every time in history. And that blueprint was written by Lenin long before the October Socialist Revolution of 1917 in Russia. And since then, you know how many socialist, so-called socialist countries or dictatorship now, since then until now, they get into existence, and then some of them still here, some of them don't exist anymore. And that blueprint works every time. It works in every country. Of course, there are some local modifications to that blueprint, but the basis is the same. And it works again every time. What I see here in the US is exactly by that blueprint, step by step, step by step. It's working very well here now, very well. And they will not stop. The thing is, in 1917, nobody knew what life would be like in a communist dictatorship. Nobody knew what is it like, life there. And many Russians supported Lenin and his group in 1917. Why? Because all those ideas sound so good. It's so good that somebody will take care of you. It's so good that government will do anything and everything for you. Man, we'll be happy. The world will be happy. It's just so good. And it sounds good today here. You know how many millions of Americans believe this and support Obama and his regime. Not one dictator came into power without millions of supporters. Every time in history, it's the same thing over and over. And the thing is, those soon-to-be dictators get huge support at some point, while they're in their journey, and lots of followers. Then they get unlimited power, and guess what? They kill many of those supporters. They don't want competitors. They don't want competition. They want to be in power just themselves. Those supporters, their close friends have been killed over and over again in history, every time. People who think, okay, I will support this administration, my money, my support, whatever it takes, and they will do something for me later. They will not. They will destroy you, like they destroyed millions of others throughout the history. And Soviet communists had a name for that kind of people who supported or supports or have been supporting communists. The name is useful idiots. Don't take my word. Go online and check it. Google it, useful idiots, you will find out what it is. And how many useful idiots are now in America? Too many. Who said that? Thank you. Too many. I hear every day, let's re-elect Obama and take our country back. Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, you get rid of Obama. What about millions of Obamas around us? They are everywhere. They are in every public office, at every level of government. They're among our friends. They're among our families. How do we get rid of them? It's not about Obama anymore, or Romney, or whoever is in that belly of the beast, Washington, D.C. It's not about them anymore. The whole system is broken. It's how I see it. Some may not agree, but again, I'm not politically correct. I don't care. The whole system is beyond repair. And whoever tries to fix the system, staying inside this political system, will not succeed. Because dictators, communists, Marxists, they don't use this existing political system. In every country they take country down. They don't use this political system. They use their own system. And in order to beat them, we have to use their tactics. We have to use their system. Not be as evil as they are. I understand that. Stay in those boundaries like 10 Commandments. But still, using this political system, elect, re-elect, repeal. By the way, who can tell me how many government regulations or laws or whatever has been repealed in the US history? I know about one. The prohibition. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me, please, somebody. And it takes years and years to repeal one thing. How many of those things we have? Thousands and thousands and thousands. Good luck, repealers. Many years ago, I was thinking that God allowed forming the Soviet Union because He wanted people all over the world to know how the life was like in a communist dictatorship. He wanted to keep those people on guard so they make sure their countries don't go down the same way. Unfortunately, as always, people don't want to listen to the Lord. What I see here now in the US is just the opposite. I was thinking that nowadays everyone should know and understand what communism is and make all possible efforts to not allow this infection to spread. It doesn't work here this way. I don't understand why. Why Americans think that they will live better under communists. After all these years, after all these examples, after all knowledge and information we have now about communists, about Marxism, about how they do, what they do, after all this stuff, there are people who still believe them actually. I don't understand. I don't understand. For me, believing in those theories, believing communists is a serious mental disorder. Very serious. Those people should not allow to carry guns. They are ill. I mean, seriously. Do they know, or do you know what life is like under communist dictatorship? If you don't, educate yourself. Or tell your friends or whoever to educate, who knows what life is, to educate yourself. I know Steve knows, he studied Soviet politics. Educate yourself. There is so much information available everywhere. Go online. Read the book called 1984. Talk to immigrants from those countries. By the way, that book, who read that book, 1984? Nice. Let you tell me. Actual, real life is much worse than in that book. It's much worse. And here in the US, it will be even worse than it was in the Soviet Union. That's how I see it. Unfortunately, it's not the present administration that started this process. Again, that's how I see it. I may be wrong. Marxists in both parties have been working hard on this quote-unquote transformation since the war of northern aggression. Some call it the Civil War. I call it the war of northern aggression. Think of the crap Americans have slowly learned to tolerate since then. Think about how your God-given rights have been taken away from you one by one. Slowly. Very slowly, so you don't notice. By the way, Lenin wrote an article before the Russian Revolution called, let me translate it, called One Step Ahead, Two Steps Back, where he explained how to brainwash, how the propaganda works. If you do it too soon, if you do it too boldly, if you do it too fast, people will not believe you. It has to be done slowly. And if you see that you are a step ahead and it doesn't work, move 2 steps back and start again. The same process, but don't stop. And that communists do very well. Let me tell you, I see it here. So, what is or who is to blame? Why we are here in this situation? If you want to know the answer, my answer is look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. You are the reason it's happening here, now. And all the generations before you people, since 1860s, when Marxism spread around the world. Who remembers or who knows what Ben Franklin said to a woman who asked him what type of government the Constitution created? Who remembers what he said? He said, a republic, if you can keep it. He didn't say, if elected officials keep it. He said, if you can keep it. The people. However, Americans got lazy. They don't want to know their rights. They don't know their rights. They allow the government to rule their life. They take for granted what people all over the world can only dream about. Now, Russians, I have friends, I have relatives in Russia. They are looking at America and they are shocked, many of them. Why? Do you people insane there? What's going on? Why? They don't want to come here anymore. And many people going back to their countries in anticipation of what's going to happen very soon here. It used to be a great country. It used to be a great country is done. It's not a free country anymore. Give me 2 minutes. I say every nation deserves its government. Americans deserve their present government. Because people got lazy. I already talked about this. Communists are not stupid. They are serious, smart, and they will not stop until they got what they want. They will not stop. They don't stop, ever. They are on a mission to destroy this country. Their goal is to, quote-unquote, fundamentally transform the US into a communist dictatorship. Their principle is the end justifies the means. If you don't know what that means, millions of people in past and present communist countries would tell you if they could. They are dead. Because their tyrannical governments killed them. Don't think for a second it will not happen here in the US. Don't think for a second, it will happen here. Do you want this life in a communist nightmare for yourself, for your loved ones, for your kids or grandkids? Do you want this life? Do something. Do something, whatever you can, to stop this. If you don't know what to do, join Texas Nationalist Movement. At what point do you say enough is enough? At what point you will stand up and take Texas back from this police state where every one of our public servants at all levels of governments have become our enemies? Shutting up and keeping your head down will not help you survive. Fighting this regime may help you. I want to live in free and independent Texas now. Not in 20 years. I want free and independent Texas now. I remember the Alamo, and I am on William Travis' side of the line in the sand. What about you? Thank you.